Hello YouTube. I just thought I'd come back and do another gun review. Just a real quick short one. And yeah, so today let me get this out of the way there. I'm going to be reviewing the venerable Colt 1911. And yes, this is a real Colt, as you can see right there. And you got the pretty little pony. This is a Colt Mark IV Series 80, which means that there's some bunch of crazy internals back here that totally make this thing a lot more safe from dropping it, and so that way you don't shoot anybody around you if you drop it like an idiot, which, as I will get to in a moment, I actually have. So, whatever. I am an idiot. Anyway, this is a pretty standard, basic Colt 1911. It is not one of your, like, uber, customized, semi-custom shop deals. I have owned some of those in the past. As you can see, this gun is by no means perfect. There are plenty of scratches in the finish. You've got just the top end clearly is just marred. This is a workhorse. This is not a pretty little piece that you put in your safe and your safe queen and whatnot. This has seen some serious use. Anyway, this particular 1911, as you can see, it has the smaller thumb safety. It does not have an extended thumb safety. You know, honestly, I don't mind. I can activate the safety relatively easily. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort. It has a spur hammer. It doesn't have a skeletonized hammer because, you know, that extra 0.15 ounces I don't think really makes a damn bit of difference in your everyday carry. It doesn't have serrated front edges, which I actually think just makes the gun look nicer. You know, it keeps the lines of the gun a little better. I do like the straight serrated edges back here. The other thing you'll notice, or you won't notice, is there's no full-length guide rod. This is a GI plug 1911, which means instead of having the full-length guide rod that'll stick out to here, it's got just a little plug and the recoil spring, and then it has a stop right there at the front. So that's something. You know, a lot of people really support the full-length guide rod for 1911s. I honestly, you know, I have shot hundreds and hundreds of rounds through this 1911. I haven't had one hiccup, one failure that could be attributed to a guide rod. Well, I haven't had any failures at all. But you know, it's a great gun. It's a great piece. It does have some of the features which I will say are necessary for a 1911 to function at its best. And some of those features are, you have a lowered ejection port right there, and then some of the other features, I don't know if you'll be able to see inside, probably not, it's kind of dark in here. You can kind of see right there, it does have a polished feed ramp and a throated barrel, so it does have those necessary key features which allow the 1911 to function well. As you can see on the back, it does have a blade rear sight and just a standard front pin sight. No beveled magwell at all. It's just a straight magwell. Honestly, I do not have trouble doing any sort of mag changes without the beveled magwell. The flush one works great, you know, and I have a flush Colt magazine, so it doesn't have the bumper sticking out the bottom. It's flush with the bottom, so, you know, I like to keep things all in the family. That's an incest joke, and of poor taste. But anyway, moving on. What else? One of the things I want to talk about is accuracy. I have owned several 1911s. I have owned a Springfield loaded stainless. I have also owned a Springfield TRP, and I've had several friends own Kimbers, and I've shot them extensively. I will say that the Kimber, as far as finish and fit goes, is far above Springfield. It's so tight. The tolerances are ridiculously tight, and for some reason I just really like the Kimber safety. They're excellent guns. The only thing is they can be picky from time to time with ammo, and that's the one downside. The Springfields, they'll shoot anything. They don't look as nice, and their fit is not as nice, but they will eat just about anything. You could throw lead ashtrays down the range; it won't be a problem. But you're going to have to pay out close to $1,200 for a nice Kimber. And same thing with a Springfield. A Springfield TRP, I think, is MSRP somewhere around $1,500. I actually sold my TRP and bought this along with a pocket pistol, and I don't regret that at all. I think that's an excellent choice, because this one I just feel is more reliable, and I'm going to talk about that right now. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but I'm sure you can. That is the Colt rattle. The tolerances in this firearm are incredibly loose, but they're loose in key places, and they're tight in other places. For example, the place that you want to have tight tolerances that gives the 1911 its inherent accuracy is right here. It's the barrel and the bushing and the fit, everything here, and it is tight. There's no movement whatsoever. The barrel does not move. It is very, very tight, and that's what gives its accuracy. As I can show you right here, I went out to the range today, and this was the accuracy at 10 yards, standing with both hands. Wasn't using a rest or anything like that. You know, you can see I got 2 touching right there, a third one, and then these just off and around. You know, I mean, there's my thumb to kind of give you an idea of size. So this is not a match grade weapon. It doesn't have any of the super tight tolerances that the Kimber or the Springfield does, and it has just as good of accuracy as those other weapons, and this is almost at half the price of some of those. I picked this up used for $700. The previous owner obviously did not really care about how he treated it. It is just beat to hell, but it's still accurate. It still functions great. The only thing I had to do was change the recoil spring because the previous owner had like a 12-pound recoil spring in there. The factory is 16. Most people shoot 18 and a half. But this gun is loose, and that was the way John Browning designed it. He designed it with loose tolerances. Why? Because the gun will function better with that loose tolerances, because over time the gun is going to get dirty. If you are in a combat situation where this gun was designed for combat, the gun will accumulate dirt, mud, grit, grime, and you may not be able to clean it as often as you'd like. And those loose tolerances help maintain that the gun will still function even though there's crap all inside of it. You know, I once dropped my Springfield TRP into a lake, and I got it out, and it was just filled with silt, sand, and dirt, and it did not function at all. I mean, you pulled the slide back, and it jammed. Like, it was stuck. You couldn't do anything with it. Now, I'm not saying that this one would fire, but it would have a better chance at firing with how loose the tolerances are. And honestly, John Browning designed that for a reason. You know, he didn't design it to be all hand-fitted parts where you're just having such ridiculous attention to detail. You know, he designed this gun to just be assembled on a factory line. Now, and I know that there are some opponents to the 1911 on YouTube, such as James Yaeger, who says that this gun was not designed to be assembled on a manufacturing line. You know, that it needs to be hand-fitted, and every part needs to be intricately placed inside, and so that way the tolerances are super tight. That is just complete crap. And James Yaeger apparently just does not understand 1911s or their basic design or anything of that nature, because this gun is, I mean, I can just wobble this back and forth. This gun does not have tight tolerances. This is made on an assembly line. This firearm is the exact opposite of what James Yaeger said you needed to have for a firearm to function properly. And this gun functions every time. Not only does it functions extremely well and accurately. And this is not supposed to be in the world of competition grade, match grade 1911s should do what it does. But it does, because the 1911 is an inherently good design. As you can see, there's no beaver tail grip safety either. I forgot to mention that. A lot of people will really complain about that because, you know, if they hold it, they're worried that, you know, when the frame or the slide comes back that they're going to get marred by the hammer. But I mean, as you can see, if I push this down, it's still nowhere close to my hand. So those people who are getting like bitten by the frame, I don't know how they do it. You know, I've tried to like hold my hand higher, and I mean the only way I can do it is if I grip the gun down here and hold it up like that is the only way that I would get injured, because the 1911 fits perfectly right there in your hand, and you just wrap your hand around it and it's there. You know, this is not going to come back and bite you. So once again, beaver tail grip safeties, I don't get them. I don't know why they're there. I think they look ugly as hell. But flat mainspring housing. Other than that, this gun is pretty close to GI standards. And I really like this gun. For $700 used, you can get a Series 80. A gun shop near me has like 9 of these for $700 a piece. A lot of them in better condition than this one. And honestly, I don't know if you can buy a better 1911 for $700, and it's a Colt. It comes with a name. It's going to hold its value. Maybe not this one because I've beaten the hell out of it, but nonetheless. Oh, and speaking of beating the hell out of it, and me being an idiot, I did drop this, and I broke the rear sight. I had to get a new one put in, and for some reason it kept shooting to the right. I literally had to take this to the range and beat the rear sight like a red-headed stepchild, to the point that the rear sight is almost starting to come out of the trench, and now it shoots straight again. I don't know if that's just because this particular rear sight is messed up, or perhaps that the trench wasn't dug correctly, or maybe I bent something when I dropped it. Not sure. But in any event, you know, I got a little carried away and just started beating it with the brass hammer, and I didn't really care about the finish. But it's shooting straight, and it's functioning great, so there's really, you know, no real issues with that. So yeah, that's about it. Closing thoughts, I guess, would be a 1911 is an excellent gun. It's heavy, though. It does have limited capacity, but it is a combat handgun. And my biggest issue with James Yaeger's review is he seems to make it sound like you need to go and fight a war with a pistol. And anyone who tell you, well, who's been in the military or been in any sort of real tactical training, is that a pistol is used to fight your way to your rifle. That's what they're designed for. And this gun will fight its way to your rifle every time. You don't need 30 some on rounds to fight your way to a rifle. You should only need 8. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick lowdown of one of my favorite pistols. I'm not a Colt fanatic. I do like Colts. The only other Colt I own is a Colt Python. But I always wanted to own a real Colt 1911. There's something just about seeing that logo and the horse there. It's nostalgic. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I know it ran really long and I wanted it to be short, but I'm long-winded and have a lot of things to say. So hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day, YouTube.